It's Friday, September the 8th. Here we are. Big day tomorrow for us.
Yes, it is. Hopefully, knock on wood, cross fingers and everything, we'll avoid any rain. But we have a client appreciation event tomorrow, a drop-in here in the parking lot, some good food and fellowship, and just a way to say thank you. 11 to 2 tomorrow, I believe.
11 to 2. That's right. And so just come by anytime during that period of time. I think we have somewhere between 90 and 100 folks that have signed up. So hopefully the weather will cooperate, and we'll have a wonderful event.
This week, several things continue in the path that the Federal Reserve is marching on. The one governor in the state of Georgia came out and said that he feels like maybe they've done enough for a while, and it's time to let's see if all this tightening will continue to bring interest rates down. But Jerome Powell came out and said 2% is 2%. And so he reiterated they're going to get it to 2%.
So I read that as at least either in September or November, we're going to see at least one rate increase.
That's how
I interpret that language.
Most interesting question of the week that just occurred on 98.1, the radio show we do. A listener sent in a question that asked, if they were going to buy a note, which they were referring to treasury bills, and they gave us a quote at 5.34 for 3 months, or locking down a 1-year rate at 5%, which was the better one to buy now? And then they asked us to explain.
What's interesting is that a year and a half ago, that person would have never even thought about asking that question.
No.
They probably didn't even know what the difference between a T-bill and a 1-year treasury note was.
Or a CD.
Or a CD.
CD. Yeah. And your answer to them, I thought, was spot on. So I'll let you want to give your answer again?
To us, piggybacking on what we just talked about, the Fed most likely is going to raise rates in the near term. So if they're going to raise rates in the near term, then the short-term rates are going to go up. So the 5.34 example treasury bill would probably be paying more. So for that 3-month period, you probably will get more than 5.34 in the event that the Fed does raise rates 25 basis points.
And you could find yourself then in November, December, locking down, if you wanted to, a year rate that probably would then be higher than
because the 1 year would be paying a little bit more than 5%. So I would say just hang loose and buy that 3-month, or talk to us about SGov, which is an exchange traded fund that we use for our treasury bills too.
And that provides liquidity, instant liquidity for us. Now, the other thing that's interesting this week, and we've had a lot of discussion both in the office and on air, is what's going on in the area of artificial intelligence. It's been referred to as the Magnificent Seven, the top four. It's been referred to as FANG. New players with AI have been introduced, but there has been a huge run-up in companies that are involved in artificial intelligence.
Yes.
And with that came a question that we began to banter back and forth and think through. Is it reflective of the bubble of technology that occurred some years ago?
Well, so I would answer this a couple of ways. One, artificial intelligence is here to stay. It's going to be the next new thing. However, it has had such a run up, it seems to make sense to us that if we're going to have what we believe will be a pullback, and could be a pullback of 5 to 10%, we're already in the midst of some of that pullback, I believe. But if we're going to see that go further, wait for that price to come down in that whole sector, and then look at maybe purchasing, because this reminds me so much of the tech bubble of 2001, where there were no profits. These companies were startups that really had no business plan, and the price on these stocks went through the roof. And we all remember what happened. Your 401ks went in half in 2001 because for those who overloaded into that area, they got killed. So I would say just step back, allow it to occur, then move forward with companies that you've done your research on, or you ask us to look and do some research on.
And this week has been another example how different factors can affect companies that work in the technology, but work in all areas, specifically what China has done in terms of technology and how it has affected one of the major technology companies within the United States in the threat that in retaliation of what we did to Chinese companies, they have retaliated against a U.S. company.
So as retaliation to TikTok, they've now retaliated against Apple, and so there's that sort of match going on. This too shall pass.
Yes. So you have factors. There are factors that affect it even above overinflated stock values. So a lot is going on. We continue to look at and build the list. I sat down with a client yesterday and went over our list of stocks. We made a few decisions in those lists, but we still continue to lean a little more towards the conservative nature, and let's see what the Fed is going to do next. But we're here, and we do this each and every week because it is your money.
And your money matters.
See you next week.